asking, yeah, so I'm asking for like with media queries, I'm saying, oh, for this media, which is your screen or whatever, give me these styles at a certain breakpoint. That's basically what it means. It means that I'm just some code at a certain like maybe 100 pixel screen, give me this piece of code. It might not make sense. Let me like share my screen. So I'm going to go into the schools. I'm reading through very quickly. Um, so this is an example of media query. Here an example of it says at media only screen and looks like was on screen and I just making sense. You know, even myself, that's like if you want to do like multiple screens, you can get only it's just a option. So like usually they just media and remove all of this.
Akin, can you hear me? I think your network is breaking.
Why?
No idea. Yeah. So if you look at this number, it has okay. It's back now. It's back to green now.
Shouldn't be slow.
The Nigerian thing.
Guy, I've invested so much in internet. You would think that I would have won by now. Why is it bad? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I see your screen now. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, this is the media query syntax, but I think it's easier to explain when we jump into some code. So ignore most of all of these things. What we have here is a body with a background color of light green, and we are saying at media only screen blah 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 blah. Do this. So I want us to focus on this at media line, and for the meantime, let's just remove all of this. I say at media maximum width 600 pixel. Do this. Let's run it. Yes. So do you notice how? Okay. So look at the look at this number here. We are resizing our window, resizing it. So this is like a laptop screen, maybe like a regular laptop. And keep resizing. This is like a tablet, like an iPad or Samsung tablet. And you resize. This is now more like a mobile phone. And then it changes from green to blue at the 600 mark. If you look at it here, this number here, at the 600 mark, it changes from green to blue. Again, it's like, what is going on? So let us go back to this line. It says at media. It's basically saying, I don't know if it's shorthand but like this is how if I write it quickly. But I know that this is really what the same thing. It's saying on your media, the media here is a laptop. If the maximum width is 600 pixels, okay, how do I put it now? This maximum width means anything less than or equal to 600 pixels. I'm trying to make it intuitive. Like I can say it, but I don't want you to memorize it. I want to make sense to you. Maximum width is saying anything that has a width that is not up to 600, meaning like the maximum width for all the devices we're looking at. Do you get what I mean? Again, media means device. So giving your device, any device that has a maximum width of 600 pixels. A very good example of that is my phone. This is not up to 600 pixels. It's not up to so you see any device that has a maximum width of 600 pixels, I want you to change their color to blue. So this is how like it to look on a phone. This is not up to 600. This is like how phones are 382. Keep stretching. Then when it goes beyond 600, it becomes green. So the whole point is for you to think of it like, oh, okay, this is max says anything that is not up to, but less than. That's just it. Then the opposite of that is minimum width. It is like saying minimum width 600 pixels. You're saying now this one now says okay, any device screen that has a minimum width of 600 and it goes to infinity, like 600 and above, then consider that and apply these styles. Do you get what I mean? So I hope I've explained this line to a point where it makes sense at least. At media means at any device. You know how you add somebody on Twitter? You're saying at any device that has a minimum width of 600. Like this thing, right? This thing in the bracket is like a qualifier. It's giving more information. At media is saying any device, then the more information is here, that has a minimum width of 600 pixels, apply this. Again, like this one, so I didn't run it. It should be light blue. It's light blue, light blue, light blue, light blue, light blue, because of its what's it called? Yeah, yeah. But once you, what am I doing? Give me a sec. Yeah, of course. So because of its minimum of 600 pixels, from here upward, it keeps it's blue, 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 blue. Then you go below that 600 pixels and it goes back to green. So we'll try and do something more interesting, to make it make more sense. Because using color, you're like, how does that help me with responsiveness? I'm sure you can tell that, okay, if you can check different screens, maybe you can target for phones, target for laptops, target for stupidly wide monitors. And this is done everywhere, by the way. It's done everywhere. In every device, any website you can think of, they always have media queries there. Now, the reason why I said you should use Flexbox and Grid before media queries is that I will show you an example, but sometimes all you need to do is play around with the Flexbox and Grid came out to help with layouts. Layouts are like all this when you arrange your website, that's a layout. They came to help with that. And often people used to use media queries to make layouts look fine because there was no smooth transition between desktop and mobile. Or there was no way to transition the website from desktop and mobile without having to use media queries for everything. So they came with some clever tricks like flex wrap, um, things like that. So let's move on to actually playing around with this. I want us to try. Where's the body? It's the body tag here now. This is the head body. Yes, this is body tag. Let's do something here. I'm using this place as a code editor because it's just easier and quicker to. I was thinking of using VS Code, but this is easier.
We normally use Code Sandbox. Also because like in Code Sandbox, we can wherever you code, right, you can share the link later so people can use it after.
Code Sandbox.
Yeah, you're perfect. So
hurry, I have an account already. I don't know my internet is bad. MTN will tell me it's fast, and then one day just remove his hand from my matter.
What do you use? MTN 5G?
No, my area doesn't have 5G, and it's annoying because I thought it would.
Let's use the new from template.
Yeah.
And then when we static website, is it I think the bottom one.
Static, yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this is no better. Let us create a file called styles.css. Again, the name doesn't matter. Then we bring it in and say style. It's not rel. I mean, no.
How to do link?
Link, yeah. This Grammarly. I know this is code.
Can you disable it for the page or something? Like
what? Yeah, this is gone now. CSS.
I think you have to use a link tag, no, on the head.
Yes, link, real style sheet.
Yeah.
I was like, something is off. This doesn't look fun. By the way, this kind of things are actually done by boilerplates.
Yeah.
I was like, something is off. It didn't feel right.
Yeah, anyway, this happens to me all the time. I think I spend like almost like a day, one day, try to like think wrong. Why they start?
Dude, I think the worst one is the viewport. When last did you write viewport device with like?
I don't ever write this one. This one I don't ever write it. I just make sure I don't remove it.
Okay, so
I think that the link attribute has to be changed to href. right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, let's see that. Yeah, so this should work.
Yeah.
Yep, it works. So let's let's create let's create boxes, right?
Mhm.
But let's create a simple layout so it's practical, so we can actually like practicalize it. Let's use grid. So have box div div, we'll call it class wrapper, and then we'll have, let me think of something. One, two, three. Okay. Div. They should have shortcut in this thing. I'm sure they have. I just don't know it. So we have three divs. Let me call this one class B1. This is,
Um, Akin,
yeah.
actually, you can import your this thing, your VS Code settings. Yeah, just
Well,
copy it
I
out.
think you can actually like normally there's MX supported, so you can use MX syntaxes if you want.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can copy out your VS Code settings itself and paste, and it will
Oh,
work.
Really, I haven't tried that one. That sounds very cool. I know that this is VS Code anyways, but
you
Yeah,
put
it's
a
just
master code sandbox.
yeah, that's what we use every day anyway. That's what we use every day.
I don't, well, let us move on. I already written the CSS, right?
Okay, okay.
Um, does wrapper, then we'll not have like a display. So I'm looking for display grid. Um, and then let me have, what's it called again? D1, yeah, D1 background color red. Red is like my debug color. If I try to find something and you can't see it's background color red, then blue because it's very jarring. Then maybe green or something. So the reason why I'm doing this is just so we can see what's going on. And then we now do this. So I want us to, the reason why I'm doing all this is just so we can play with something. So we're going to do something. Let's have four. Yes. Um, yes. And let us maybe some black. And then we'll do grid template column. Um, then, should work, I mean. God, I
Yeah,
beg you, don't show me.
I think
Uh,
you have to save the HTML because it's not
oh,
saved. And and I also think that the in the styles.css, the grid should not be quoted.
oh, I'm used to using one JavaScript framework like this that makes me code things all the time.
Uh,
Um, yeah, refresh. Does it refresh automatically?
it does refresh automatically. Let's
Oh
see.
yeah, sorry. Height 100 VH with 100 VW. There shouldn't be body and
Yeah.
body. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And margin. Yeah. Okay, so we have this one. This is just like setup code. Like this does. I'm not taught us end number responsive yet. It just set up. Let's just know what we're doing. So this is what we have. We have four very very ugly columns, but like we're getting there. So my question for you now is: let's say you want to go from having it like one, two, three, four, and want to have one, two, want to have like you want to split it into like, so right now we have four columns. What if you want to have two columns, two rows? So from it being one, two, three, four, you want to be one, two, three, four. I don't know if that makes sense. Red will be here, blue will be here, green will be here, and black will be here. I'm using this is that I want to also see if I can transition from this into showing you how to play around with also like how CSS can do some. Okay, anyway, so we want to like go from this to like if you're squishing our screen, maybe reducing how do I squish it? Or reducing our screen at a point it becomes too tiny, and you can imagine that if we had some text inside here, if you have some text inside here, it will become very tiny. But so like this, maybe the text is still nice, it's still fresh. But like as you squish it, it's it's ugly, all right. But it's not UI UX class. But like you have the text here, you now keep squishing it, keep squishing. At some point, it looks ugly. You want to split it into like instead of 4 columns, you want to split it into like 2 columns or something. That is where what's it called? Media queries will come in handy. Media queries will tell the computer that okay. When you are getting to like a mobile-ish screen, I want you to go from having 1, 2, 3, 4 to having 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, there are other ways you can do this with flexible, but that I want to use media queries first and show you flexboxy ways to do things like this to show you that media queries are not the answer to everything. This is just one example. I'll show you how to like hide things and show things on different screens, but like this is just for layout-ish purposes. So like we already have 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to change it to 1, 2, 3, 4. The media query way of doing it is at media. You know what? Who has an idea of how to do is looking at what we did here. What we did here at media, minimum width, maximum width. Obviously, we're going to do at media. I want someone to tell me what should be inside here, and I don't want God's I don't want Godspeed or King to say anything. I want someone to tell me how do I, okay, let me even make it easier. We want to change it from this line. We want to change this line. This is the line we want to change. We want to change it from this to this. We want to change it from this to this. If I comment this out and I press, where's the button? Save, Control S, it will change to this. This is what we want. We want to turn it to this one more like around here instead of it looking like this. Right? So we know the code we want to write. We already know it's not a secret. But my question now is, as media, what to be inside this bracket here? Someone should tell me. You can look at this for reference. I'll give 10 seconds. If you answer within 10 seconds, I'll send you money for data.
I want to answer. Chill. I know I don't pay for data, but I could use the money for something else.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
Darling, answer.
5, 4, 3. Data money is going 2, 1. Yeah. Looking back at it, and we want at media, blah blah blah. What do we put in here? For my example before, remember that if you are targeting like a small screen, but okay, you want every screen that okay, this seems like around 600. I'll be this screen, let's say 600. By the way, over time you will learn what 600, 1000, like you will learn what they mean. It's like your resolution, you will learn those things eventually. But like, let us say this is like 600. This is like, let us say like my laptop stream like what's it? I don't know. It's like 1,900 or something like that. This entire thing is 1,900. So half of it will be like 800, 600 will be around here. That's my point. So yeah, that's okay. I want to target something from like 600 and below. So I said, you give me meaning that I'm looking for something that is smaller than 600 or equal to 600, but not greater than. Meaning we're saying anything that has a maximum width of 600. We're saying anything that cannot pass 600. Meaning the maximum we're looking at is 600. So when you think maximum, just put maximum width, and then you put 600 pixels. And then we cannot copy and paste our line. it works. I mean, oh, sorry. We'll now rewrite this thing here. Yeah. So basically, what you do is you're basically saying, okay, when you get to this point, ignore the well, not ignore, but like take the styles inside this place and override the corresponding. No, there's grid template columns here, but there's grid template columns here as well. Override the corresponding, like if you find this here, override it with this. Basically, you're saying if you find if this line is here, override it with this. That's basically what it's saying. I really hope it's clear because I might not be explaining this well, but it's very, very like intuitive. Once you look at it as maximum, once you know what that maximum stands for. Mind you, there are like many media queries. There are like some other, not many, but like there's a good amount, other weird ones for like landscape, portraits, all those kind of things. But we will not go into them. The point is for you to learn that at media is calling out your media and saying anything that has a maximum width of 600 pixels, any device, a phone, iPhone 14 Pro Max, Pro Plus Plus, all of them that share under 600, make it look like this. That's the entire point. Now, we're going to not ignore this for a while, and I want to try and use Flexbox for this thing. Let's try and play around with. Let's try and use Flexbox for it, right? So what did we have? We had this column, grid template column. I can use grid for this, but I don't like Flexbox. So let's say we have display flex for these items, and okay, let me do like this. Dot wrapper, all of them, flex 110. This should work, by God's grace. Yes. So this one is not saying, but I just try to recreate the exact same thing in Flexbox, the exact same problem, but also solve it without using media queries. We are saying, okay, let each item inside our Flex container have equal amount of spacing. Again, all of these things that you might not know it, if I forget it. Like I've memorized that 110 makes all of them equal. That's like my brain has memorized it. But like, we have that same similar problem. And when it gets here, it becomes so ugly. Like, how is this not fresh? Right? What you can do, the cheap Flexbox way is the cheap Flexbox way. Even funny now, I just thought about it. We can't use Flexbox alone for this. We need to use media queries. What I was trying to make us do was something like, okay, it won't work. We need to use media queries, but it's not possible. So there's something that are not possible without media queries. So just ignore everything I've said here. This is talking to somebody. So but back to this square one, but back to where we were. We put our media queries back. Everything looks good. So I want to show you another thing that you can do with media queries. Can you see this text that we have in here? Or let's say we want to hide the red column. We want the red column to like disappear after a while, because we've tried. Okay, if we reduce our screen, it will go 1, 2, 3, 4. But let's say this is not enough. Let's say we don't want to split it like this. We want to just remove the red column after a while. So instead of doing this, we can just say, I'm going to ignore the wrapper. The wrapper is fine. I want to target the red one, .b1. And I want to say, when it is less than 600, display is none. Meaning, let it disappear. And look, it's gone. The red one is gone. So like now we have this white space. Now obviously it doesn't work the way we want to, because we need to like change the grid template columns back to let's just use flex all the way here. Display flex better. Say flex running let's work on yeah. Yes. So this is what I was trying to show you. So like we have 4 here. After 600 pixels, when it goes below, we want to remove one or like get out, and then it goes. And then we can write another one and say at media 400 pixels, and then at 400, D2 will disappear. This 600 is gone, 400, D2 is gone, and can keep going on and on and on like that. So, so far, does anyone have any questions? I mean, if you have questions, I mean, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Um, if you have any questions, just ask. Just interrupt and ask. So we've seen now, okay, with Flex with media create, we can hide stuff. We've hidden one, hidden the second one. We have two. Let's can keep going on and on like that. But I wonder, has anyone ever? Like, I was thinking, it's good like this, right? But what if we want to say we've already established that we can say any device that is less than a certain number do this. Any device that is greater than that number do this. But what if we want to say any device that is greater than a certain number and less than a certain number? Let's say we want like a specific device. We want it to be anything that is less than minimum width of 600, minimum width of 400, maximum width of 600. We want to say let's change with yeah, you want to the maximum of this thing. Basically you want to group both of them together, and it's this is one of the things that I find very interesting, that the media query syntax is very, if you don't read it for what it is, it can be very, very ugly to look at. Where is it? In W3 schools, they have a very long example. Yes, I think it's this one. By the way, I think you guys should read this if you are very, very, like, if you are curious about this thing. This is a very nice thing. This is not, let's be honest, like there's no perfect, like there's no particular 700 pixels works. Most devices are around those size, but there's always that one crazy device. So I don't really subscribe to having a certain media query breakpoint and taking that as truth. I don't say, okay, does it look good? Does it look good? Or at what point I want to make it look like a tablet? At what point I want to make it look like a mobile? But that's another thing. We can also combine media queries. Where is the combine media queries? This thing. I think is, what is it again? As media minimum with, I think it's and. I'm very not sure about this thing, but I'm going to try. I know there's something I'm missing. I always have to look at media screen, only screen, and yes, only screen and blah blah. This should do something nice. Let's see. Okay. Anything less than this? No. Nth minimum of 400 pixels, meaning anything greater than 400, maximum of 600. This is not working as it should. Yes, perfect. It's working. Let's use 600 to 900. So what we're doing here is we're making a bolder statement. We're saying, hey, media, only screens, though, I'm pretty sure we can remove this and to work. But let's not remove it. That's how we write it. But I say at media, hey media, I want you to look at only screens, only screen. We're not targeting anything, we're just targeting screens, right? Any screen, okay, only screens. And this is what I want to say. I don't know how to it's a query. I want you to read it like it's English. Hey media, only screens, and screens that have a minimum width of 600 pixels and a maximum width of 900 pixels. So we're saying only screens that have a minimum of 600. This is not up to 600, not up to, not up to, not up to, not up to. But okay, we enter 600 range, so it removed D1. We're not looking for that 900. We're going, and it has come out again. So I'm saying when you get starting from 600, when you enter into the 600 range, remove red. Then when you enter into 900 range, put red back in. That's basically what someone saying. Oh, minimum width of 600 and let the maximum be 900. So like we're creating a range. It's very weird. I can guarantee that you will forget the syntax. You see how I forgot it? It's a very easy thing to forget because I don't like the way it reads. At media only screen and it's just you can easily just be like, oh, screen only, that kind of thing. So it's fine if you don't like get it just by looking at it. You just know the possibility in media queries. Know that okay, I can create an upper limit, I can create a lower limit, I can create a range between this and this. This is basically everything you need to know about media query for a practical. By the way, media queries are like stupidly useful. Like there is no real web application, like real world web application that will at least use one media query because there's so many things, especially when they challenge the UI is a bit challenging. You have to like hide things, show this, show a hamburger icon, hide the hamburger icon, those kind of little things. But yeah, this is a typical example of how media queries work. Now, someone must ask a question, please. I beg you. If I say I will give you money for data to ask question, now people will ask.
Yeah, I just a thinking. I'm thinking that this media only screen is probably to say that this media rule does not affect printing, right? So it's like, yeah, basic. I would think so. I think I'm positive. I'm not
Possibly. Again, that's one thing I had. Let me see. Let's not look at it. A media screen remains I think what you mean. Let's see. Yeah.
Oh, come on! What kind of explanation is this?
I mean, these are the politicians.
It looks like ChatGPT generated this thing.
Exactly. So in short, the screen is just adding a condition
Okay.
to that they affect only screens with exactly.
Yeah. So what you say about a media print one, he says also
Exactly media prints.
Yeah. So it's to like
Exactly.
printing.
So if you're just targeting saying, okay, I want to target screens, finish. So that is the whole only screen. I don't like it. I don't know why. Just never like. I wish it wasn't there. It's such a thing. Like only screen. But 99% of the time, it's only screen you're looking at anyway. So what's the point? But like, that's like media queries. Like there's so many more things. But like basically, this is it. Like you can't have. It is straightforward because what it does, and then you have to practice. Once you learn to use it, like you don't be writing media queries, you won't think about it. My advice to always play around with Flexbox. If you can, try to like really learn Flexbox and Grid. They will help you not media query everything. When I started out, I used to like media queries and small thing. But when I really learned Flexbox, I was like, oh, I don't need media queries for a lot of things. And I would also advise that when learning media query and everything, avoid using things like Bootstrap, Tailwind. My reason is to really learn how media queries work. You want to remove those things. Try to simplify it for you. Simplify responsive web design. In my own opinion, as a front-end developer, you shouldn't simplify it to that level because you are blocking yourself into an ecosystem that is not the natural CSS. Like if you go into a different technology now, how would you do it? But the common playing ground is CSS. The common denominator is CSS. So if you learn all this syntax, it might look ugly. There might be a library that does say MD dots or MD this, and you've gotten your CSS. Don't do that yet. Like play around with media queries, build different layouts. If you need inspiration and many websites that will inspire you, then just play around with it. Try using media queries to hide and show things. It's so useful. I hope you can see the usefulness. Yeah, somebody wants to say something, please. Somebody please. Casey, Darlene.
Okay, my question is, I came in late though, but what if the red part is necessary, and then as you shrink, like the red part is going to go out? What if the red part is supposed to be there like permanently?
Yeah, you just won't put in the media query. Like you just omit it. The media queries are to help you, modify these things. If you remove this and you like save, it never goes away. It just stays there, stays there, stays there. But the point is that if you ever want something to disappear, you can. You can, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else? I know you.
Okay.
Good
Yeah, I have a question. Akin, good evening.
evening.
So like the text you have on the red block. So if you want to maybe make it, let's say the red part is visible on a different screen, and maybe you want this text to be bigger or smaller, maybe more readable, kind of. So you're going to like under this media, that's the screen
Mhm.
specification. You target it and say something about it.
Yes, you do the font size. So if you want to increase the font size, you can say, okay, in this same, 600, 900, we'll also say font size equals, let's say, 2 and something 40 pixels in here. Let's say shout. So like it's small, let's say, yeah, small, boom, it just gets big, bigger.
Okay.
And then we keep going, then we go small again. So again, minus display, anything it says is any style, like any style, it gets amazing when you can even you can have an animation or a property, then transition. You know what? Let's play around with it. Let me do something next. Let's do something that looks a little cool. Transition. Let's do transition 0.3 seconds. What's paper looking? Let's hide this again. Hmm. It's okay. Not the word where I want to. Okay. Let's say okay, width is equal to 0. That should
You
work.
have to transition all. Is it? You have to transition. Ah, okay. I think that's probably animate.
Um, come on. Oh, how am I say yes? Width is equal to 0 pixel. Yeah, that should work now. Or is it because of the flex thingy?
I think we should, I don't know, maybe if we include ease in the transition, like 0.3 seconds ease, it can smoothen it out.
Or even make it like longer, like 1 second, so that you could actually like say,
Yeah, 0.3 is like my favorite second.
yeah.
Let's spell it well. TRN transition. Bro.
But what are you transiting? What are you transiting? Like the property you're transiting, does it matter, or do you have to like
Yeah,
specify?
I can also transition with. Okay, can you make I didn't set a width to all of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't set a width to all of them. Oh, I can't transition. Let me see. Let us use some arbitrary width for all of them. Let's say 100 pixels.
Yeah. But also,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe let's see.
So I want to remove width.
I think we're probably getting something wrong. Transition. Let me.
It says transition, but not right.
Yeah. Yeah, but I also think that transitioning like width is actually like harder to even say.
Because of width,
Yeah.
but I think 100 pixel
Maybe
value.
like something like translate or something, translate or maybe rotate, and then it could be easier to see.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, yes, yeah. I get you. Let's do like this. Okay, let's play. Shall just to illustrate something, shall remove this with, let's say, transform, um, rotate 90. Let's put it here. 90 beg.
Oh, oh,
I think we can have something we can see.
yeah.
So what happened here is that at this certain value, close. Yeah, at this value, we said, oh, I want to transform. I want to transform this thing. I want to transform sound like I'm a witch. I want, I want it to I want it to transform and do something whatever. And like the way CSS works is that when you transform something, it takes the old value and the new value, then interpolates between them over a period of time. Forget when interpolate. Say old value, new value, change them, change the value to a certain value over a period of time. That's how transition is transitioning from one thing to another. So I said, okay, as per going like this, I want to rotate 90-degree over 1 second, right? And then when I go, I want to now I want to remove that transform value, that rotation effect, and then to go back to its old value. So just by media query, you can take something from looking like this. Imagine you now have like different screens. You want to do things, you want to hide things, you want to make them disappear, you want to make them jump around. That is just the power of media queries. You can do things at a certain screen size. You can also say, okay, someone using landscape mode or portrait mode. Obviously I'm using a laptop, so I can't illustrate that. I think, yeah, you have to use like that thing, this thing to illustrate like landscape and portrait. But like if you want to do landscape, portraits, all those things, like it's just play around with it. It allows you to do plenty of things, but learn Flexbox and CSS. Media create another solution to every responsiveness problem you have, because sometimes you realize that if I just use flex wrap or minimum height or minimum width, you can get the effect you want. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's nothing left to say except anybody has any more question.
Yes. Can you like try to remove this media stuff and use Flexbox to achieve this?
Okay, for this one, I'm not
Or Grid?
sure. Okay, yeah, what I was thinking of doing is something like this. Let's remove this. We would say, okay, all of them are we can't do the animation with Flexbox, so sorry, but we can say um minimum width of each one would be something like 70 pixels, and then we'll say flex. No. Flex wrap on this. Flex wrap is wrap. And then what happens here is it goes. Then come on, wrap.
I think the mean width
Yeah,
70 pixel is pretty tiny, no?
yeah, it is. um, this black is not really a good color to use here. Let's use pink. Yes. So you see, this is still too tiny. Let me just use 300. I mean,
Yeah, I see.
not
And
too much.
yeah,
Um, 200. Okay, so what I was trying to do is see we see how that same thing here, but with Flexbox and wrap, we can do this and still get to what we want. Do you get? We can still get to roughly where we want to be, because what Flexbox is saying is that, oh, okay, this each column here is what 200 pixels, minimum of 200 pixels. So when you reach that minimum, if you check the measurements here, if you check the measurement here, this one is 230, 230, 230. Let's press it in a bit. It's now 221. Press it in even further. Right about here, it becomes what? 201. So once you enter the 200 whatever zone, it's not okay. Let me wrap this one. Let me throw this pink one under. You push it again, it throws the next one under. So the whole point is it's saying, okay, let me try and fit it in, then just wrap around. So that's what Flexbox can help you do. So sometimes you don't really want to use media queries, you just want things to like wrap around, right? That is where things like Flexbox come in handy. It's not every day, but like sometimes that is not. Sometimes this is what you want, and Flexbox can do it. So with just a few lines, we've done it in Flexbox. We don't have to create a new section for media queries and blah blah blah. And the thing about media queries is that it can get long. Like you have all your styles, media query for this. I've had a CSS file that has so many media queries. To see the device I want, I have to scroll down. I have to write long comments. I don't know what I'm looking for. It can get very messy. So, so like basically we have this, and yeah, media queries. I'm sorry, without media query, we can achieve something similar with just Flexbox.
Question.
Mhm.
Yeah, how do we deal with overflow? For instance, as you wrap, as the screen size reduces, let's imagine that the dummy content there was actually longer. So how do we definitely? I believe it's going to overflow. So how do we deal with that overflow to prevent it?
Um, so there are a couple of things. If there's something inside that is overflowing, you can put an internal scroll, overflow, auto scroll.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, that is like without that, like because it's responsive, so everything resizes
Mhm,
dynamically without a
mhm,
scroll. Because that horizon, the scroll can be messy sometimes too.
mhm. Let's make it overflow. Let's use some move this text or dummy text. Let's grab it. Hmm.
And another reason why I ask is also for screen readers. That is for accessible design too.
Yeah, so give me a sec. Let's call it some minimum passes text or something. Please don't ever name your classes like this. I beg you. Um, let's give a minimum width of a minimum of 200, and it doesn't shrink. Let's give a minimum width of 200 as well. Should be fine. Um, so when we try, it should break out. Why is it not breaking out? Why is it not breaking out? It should wrap. Yes, white space, no wrap. Yeah, so it's overflowing, but like it's cutting into like this blue one. Not the kind of overflow I want, but we'll take it. Anyway, um, another thing you could do is use media accuracy and just be like, oh yeah, sure, at so and so break point, I want you to have a maximum width or so personally, right? When it comes to overflow, eh, I like to handle them without using media queries per se. Like, so let's say something is overflowing, the content is overflowing the wrapper. First and foremost, you should almost never have overflows except it's intentional. Like things that could make overflows are like texts. Maybe you have like you have it so you have like text you want to put in a row, and then as they get closer, one text is too long, they can now use overflow ellipses. So like you have dots, so it doesn't like it shows, or you can just wrap it around and show the text in a different column. Like you cannot the same thing we are using flexbox to wrap things around. You can just show the text and like this from display flex change to display block. But usually, if you have overflow in your front end without using display hidden, try to find out like unwanted overflow. Like almost every overflow is unwanted, but there are some that you can't tell where it's coming from. Don't ever use media queries to try and fix overflow. That's why I don't tend to use media queries. I always advise to find out where the overflow is coming from. Something needs to be a correct width. Something needs to be width 100% instead of a fixed value. Something needs to have your minimum width removed. Because the reason why this one we have overflow is just a very horrible example. It's because we have this minimum width. So we will now okay, let me remove the minimum width so that white space and white space no wrap, and then obviously it would come back to normal. This is a bad example because like, it's difficult to create an overflow on the spot. But like whenever you do have one, try and figure out where it's coming from. Sometimes you might have to go like multiple levels up in your HTML to figure out where this ugly looking overflow coming from. And then when you find it, you fix it. So worst case scenario, overflow just put hidden or put internal scrolling. And then for screen readers, um that's why you should never have overflows in the first place, because you can't have a screen reader reading something or reading something that is off screen. I mean, it's cool still read because the text is still there, but like that is not even intuitive. Like text should never be hidden or overflowed. Like I would even say the only thing that allows overflow are things like nothing should be overflowed. I've never seen any use. Okay, I've had a use for overflow maybe when I want to the trick I use for like HTML tables, make them responsive. What's overflow? Okay, overflow is like you have a certain container, and the item inside the container is bigger than the container. It's like it's like you have a box, and the item in the box is bigger than the box. So it forces it, it comes out and it looks very ugly. Let's just try and do this. It's sometimes it's also easy to create when you're working in real life. When you want to create them, they won't appear. They're very annoying generally. Let's say you have a background color of my colors are
Okay, I think we've already created it. When, especially when you use display of grid, the text when everything was 1FR together, that is 4. The dummy text was, I think, at the point it stretched beyond. When you
yes,
changed it to 2FR, it stretched beyond. So there was that vertical overflow. So I
yes.
think if we duplicate this lorem and make it longer, I think we'll have overflow in the red box
How do
vertically.
you how
Sorry?
do you think we should create overflow again?
Yeah, let's just increase on the HTML file. Let's just duplicate the lorem ipsum stuff and make it more. Yeah, just duplicate. So it's going to be
Or
longer vertically. Yeah.
to be enough now?
Oh, it's resizing.
Well, this is I hate basically when the container is you know what? Let's Google overflows in CSS overflow example. Like
But we got it with grid then. I don't know.
when you don't need them, they will appear and be like, yes, I'm here. This is an example of they're handling it now. Look at this example. This is your container and your text is just spilling out. It's like I don't give it. I don't care about my container. I am my own person. Like the text is doesn't care. It just coming out doing its own thing. So a good trick is so by default all overflow is visible, right? But a good trick is to not change it from visible to hidden. And then it hides it, it clips it inside. It says, nope, you're not going anywhere. Any overflow, yeah, just nobody wants to see you. Or you can say overflow auto, and then it will allow you to scroll inside or overflow while scroll. Auto is nicer because it doesn't show scroll bar if there's no need for it. Anyway, um it allows you to scroll. So like overflow when the content inside is what am I saving? I'm doing control S. I don't know why. Um run and it keeps breaking out of the container. So that's the issue with that. That's what an overflow is. And I mean, what's it called? Media queries are not the solutions to this. Like I said, we've tried to fix overflow multiple times without media queries. So like I would say always fix your overflows from the source. Don't just like you can say media query, maybe hide this or increase the height so that to accommodate the content. No. Let the content expand the height by itself. Figure out why you have an overflow in the first place. There are scenarios where you want an overflow, when there's some tricks you play to make responsive HTML tables so that even then you're often using it properly, you're hiding it. But like there's some tricks, there are some times it comes in handy. I've used overflow mostly for animation. When I want to do some one over the top animation and I want to give it a boundary box, but I want the animation to come out of the box, I'll use overflow to allow it to come out. So it creeps out of the box but has a container. It's hard to explain. I could find one. I'm trying to think of any animation I have. But there's plenty of overflows that are useful, but most of the time they are horrible and make your site look bad. So whenever you see an overflow in your this thing, it happens a lot in responsive design to be honest. When you have like if you have like an image, ooh, this is a very good question. It's even true. Let me show you an example of overflows come on, Akin, being the worst thing in the world. Okay. Oh, So yeah, he gave this I have an idea for creating a very very horrible overflow. So let's say we've done minimum width for all of them, but this one has a minimum width of 500 pixels. And can I? Uh, let's just use important. So this one is favored over. Never use important except you have to. Yes. So see how it's causing this thing to scroll awkwardly. Like you see, everything else is trying to scroll. Yes, everything else is fitting in this window. This is like a window. This is a window. Everything else is fitting in the window except this guy here. It's breaking out. So if you use your mobile phone, your phone will not be able to scroll, but it'll be scrolling horizontally. It's ugly. So a good way to fix this is that maybe you can now say, okay, at a certain media query, I want it to, instead of it having, you can ask at a certain media query, I want it to become the maximum width to become something I want to overflow hidden. But the ideal solution to a problem like this is never set a minimum width like this in the first place. Like just say minimum width will be something very small, maximum width will be something. Again, let's not even talk about overflows because these media queries are not a good way to handle overflows, except very niche cases. You're meant to handle them from the source. Like, why is that overflow in the first place? Why not just using media query to fix it? Just try and write your code in such a manner that everything scales with the browser, everything, scales basically. Whew, anything else? It's almost time. Okay, so
Mm, yeah, I think this was comprehensive, and I actually like the hands-on thing, which is almost like what we do here too. We don't like just like show slide or anything. We just jump into the code and start like demoing and trying things out, see what goes wrong and what goes right. So this was really good. So it was really nice that you made out time for us today. Thank you so much. And also would also like to invite you when we start learning JavaScript. It will be good to have you around. Yeah.
look at it JavaScript better than you. I know the fact.
No, okay, okay. I don't know about teaching. I think I'm a very terrible teacher, and they will tell you. Because then I'll be talking so fast, and then I'll forget I'm actually like teaching people, and I want to just show off to myself, right? And, and I do it all the time. So that's why I want to bring a lot of people, a lot of you, so you talk to them, yeah, more calmly and in more friendly manner. So that's good. So yes, that's you saying yes that you'll come. So we're inviting you definitely.
Oh,
Good.
it's fun. Anyway, if you have any questions, you can also message me. You can share my number, whatever. I might not reply early because I'm always busy. But when I
Okay.
do see, I will.
Yeah, would it be okay if we add it to our Slack? Maybe they can text you on our Slack. If you have time, you reply.
No, so I've not used Slack in like a long time. But yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Slack is a nightmare.
it's
Yeah,
Discord.
yeah, I'll send you an invite.
Oh,
Discord. Okay, okay. We'll get to that part. We'll get to that part. Yeah.
no, sure, thanks.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Akin. Thank you. Um, does anyone want to say thank you to Akin? You can unmute yourself
Thank
and
you, Akin. We
Thank
enjoyed the
you.
class.
Okay,
told you.
thank you so much. Like,
Oh,
Yeah. All right. Okay.
oh,
So
my.
yeah, bye. Yeah. Guys, let me stop this live stream. Stay on the call. Let me end this end stream. Yeah. So I hope you